Okay, we're going to, with no further public comments, the time is 7:32 PM, and the legislative session is now adjourned. Okay. It is 7:32 PM. The work session is now called to order. And we have a presentation of the 2025 year-end report for the Salisbury Fire Department. Chief Rob Frampton. Our Chief Frampton.
Good evening, Council.
Good
How's
evening and welcome.
everybody? Good. So I come before you tonight, as Julie gets it up there, to discuss what your fire department's done for you in 2025 and also answer any questions you may have. You're good.
It's not my up-to-date glasses.
It's like April. I saw some of the stats from just like the last week or 2 weeks, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable.
The winter weather has kept our people
Yes.
busy and provided some challenges.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
Good? Okay. Let's see. I got you. Perfect. All right.
Teamwork, I love it.
So year over year, we continued to see gradual growth, albeit not at the rate that we had seen in the past. So that's a good thing. Typically, we grow between 3 and 4% total call volume, and from 2024 to 2025, there we grew 2.6%. You can actually see that fire calls were actually down 1.5%, which is, I would say, is probably a testament to some of the work that our fire marshal's office has done within the city to help reduce false alarms and repeat false alarm offenders. EMS calls are what they are. As population goes up, people get older, people get sicker, they call for the ambulance. Those calls tend to increase at a 4% rate. And fire unit responses, as you can see, even though fire calls were down, we are sending more multiple units to calls, and that's purely for safety and to get manpower on the scene in a timely fashion. So as you can see, the 3-year trend just shows that gradual growth over time as the calls have peaked. There was a larger increase from 23 to 24 than there was this past year.
Hey, Chief,
Yes.
are the SWIFT calls being included in that? Is that expanding our base of the kind of calls we're getting?
Some of the SWIFT calls the MDCN is responding will go into that EMS number.
So we're now handling a different type, a little deeper.
That's
Is that
correct.
some of the explanation for the
Yeah,
increase?
a little bit, but it's still in
Yeah,
general
okay.
EMS as a whole, yeah. Because we're still ultimately sending an ambulance with that MDCN unit. We're not quite here where MDCN is going by itself, the SWIFT.
That's so, okay.
Yeah. So as these calls go up, and as we were preparing some of our budget preparations, I came across this chart here. In 2022 is when we hired our last SAFER grant. So you can see the blue line is the calls per employee. So our people were working very hard. We hired 12 people and got that number below the trend line. As you can see, call volume has continued to go up over that time, about 25, almost 26%, and staffing has increased 15%. So we're back above that trend line. So moving forward, you're going to see, kind of us putting out there to possibly bring on some additional personnel to get that number, that call per employee back under to a reasonable amount. But I thought that was interesting. Just wanted to share that. Breaking it down a little further, as we like to see where the call volume actually are occurring, whether it's in the city, out in the county, whether it's even outside of our fire district. So believe it or not, the number that sticks out here and showed is the down 11.1% of actually going out of our fire district. If you pay attention to anything, Somerset stood up an EMS agency countywide in July. So our units, Fruitland and Allen, are going to Somerset a lot less than we were. So that's why you see that reflection there over the last 6 months of 2025. We've not gone there nearly as much as we have. The rest of the call increases and decrease there. Fire and EMS tend to be in line with what we expect.
What do you attribute, Chief Frampton, to the decrease in Fruitland going outside of the
So,
Salisbury
as I
area?
said, Somerset stood up 2 staffed units down there
Okay.
that were
All right.
paid. They
Okay.
started a county EMS system,
Okay.
and they were relying heavily on a volunteer and I would say a broken fire department base by base system before. So now that they actually have staffed units, they're actually handling their calls, which is preventing Fruitland and Allen from going to Somerset to assist to cover those calls, which in turn prevents us from having to go to Fruitland and Allen as much. So it's kind of a trickle effect with the mutual aid response. But I would say Somerset standing up their system is the cause for that.
Thank you.
Like to talk about our skilled nursing facilities. Obviously, Salisbury is the hub for those for Wycomico County, and they are a significant call factor for us. But I will say we have been able to have lots of discussions and meetings with staff at the various facilities, provided them with some training and education, and that number was down to 631 calls at these types of facilities in 2025. Of that, we're seeing that they're actually calling for true emergencies. The bottom line there, that number is down. In 2024, almost over 3/4 of the calls were what we would call non-emergent or BLS or no transports. And in 2025, we're down to 55%. So success, again, a long way to go, but we know they're going to be chronic super users, but we just want to try to have some sort of impact and reduce that as we go along. Some things we couldn't do: reliance upon outside fire departments. So fire departments came into the city and assisted us 80 times in 2025. That's similar to the 77 number in 2024. And outside units came in, EMS units came in 231 times, and that should say 2025, not 2026. But which is actually down, which means our people are handling more calls. I would say we're not necessarily always ready for those calls because we're handling before reports are done, maybe before equipment's restocked on an ambulance and so forth. What this means here is that by these units coming in, city taxpayers are having to wait for outside units, and they may get a unit that shows up that says Fruitland on the side of it, Hebron, things like that. That's not really what I want as the fire chief, or I think the taxpayers would really want and the residents want to see. So we just need to keep thinking about how we can potentially add some services to that so that the people and the taxpayers are getting what they're truly paying for. The good stuff that we're doing, we measure cardiac arrest, survivability, and patients resuscitated. When we do this, we look at the witnessed cardiac arrests. They're the ones that where we can actually make an impact. An unwitnessed arrest could have an unknown amount of downtime. It's very difficult to gauge, when CPR was started and things like that. But using that number of witnessed cardiac arrests versus the saves, we had a 24% resuscitation rate. The national average is 8, so 3 times.
When you say witness, what do you mean by the EMT or by the?
Witnessed by the public, yeah, so witnessed cardiac arrest. It could be an EMT. If we have them, if we go to a chest pain and they go into cardiac arrest in front of us, that's witnessed. But typically it's a public witnessed or somebody's home, not just like we found them or a family member found them and didn't see the event actually occur. But overall, there are a lot of cardiac arrests in our fire district. Just quick math, that's what, 238, I think, if math is right. But which is a lot. That's almost, it's probably 3/4 of every day that we go. And then there were 2 civilian fire deaths and 1 civilian fire injury in 2025. Those 2 civilian fire deaths were on a fire we had on Middle Neck Drive, just outside of the city limits, but nonetheless in our fire district. You may recall that being in the news. Want to quickly go into some of the work that our fire marshal's office does and the work that our people do. So through the fire marshal's efforts and the city fire marshal's efforts and our fire staff, we were able to save just under $13.5 million in property and contents, and we lost just under $3 million of that. Our city fire marshal's office is a staff of 3 operation or field staff and 1 administrative staff. They investigated 41 origin and cause investigations just in the city last year. And as you can tell, the city is growing, whether we want to admit it or not just maybe in new construction, but commercial tenancy turnover, which is some of these building plan reviews that you may see there as well. So 181 were done in 2024, and we did 530 in 2025. So significant growth there in the commercial aspect as well as multifamily residentials. A lot of people ask me out in the hall why I brought this piece of foam here. If you follow us on social media, you may have seen this. It gets down into the next part of the inspection. So our fire marshal's office goes out and completes property inspections on commercial properties on an annual basis. During one of their inspections while they were at a nightclub, they found this on the wall all the way around the ceiling and about 4 to 6 feet down. If you know anything about foam, it absorbs sound, helps with acoustics and things like that. It's also extremely flammable. Google the Station nightclub fire in Rhode Island from 2003, where 100 people died, 230 people were injured. Without our fire marshal's office being proactive and being out in the community, this building exists. This building's a fire hazard. It just takes a lighter. Trust me, we played with a little bit of it to see how flammable it was, and it went up like a torch. So again, that's the work they're doing. This helps keep our citizens safe. This helps keep our first responders safe, and that's the work of our fire marshal's office. The added bonus is through permits and fees. They do generate a decent amount of money for the city as they review these things to ensure that they're code compliant and fire safe. They also oversee our fire marshal's office with school visits, station tours, with our public safety stuff as far as school visits, station tours, and community events. You see our fire trucks all over the place. Our different programs right now, we're doing one of my favorites with our Blazing a Trail for Literacy, where we're going out to second grade and reading to them every month, as well as issuing them a challenge to read as much as they can in 3 months, and then give them prizes. So for winning. Some of the work of SWIFT and MDCN, obviously you've heard me talk about the opioid grant that we received from the state. Opioid calls, I'm proud to say, are down from 92 last year down to 81 in 2025. And our doses of Narcan, which counteract the effects of opioid use, were over half of what they were year over year. So we're giving less Narcan. Part of that is because opioid-related calls are down, but also there's public access Narcan that's available out there to a lot of people now, which is being used well within our community, properly, I should say. In addition, they have a SAFE initiative, which looks at falls in the elderly, addressing the over 1,400 subject falling calls that we respond to in a year. This is a nurse practitioner, paramedic, and physical therapist, or referrals to a physical therapist to provide and assess risks in the home that are out there. So last year, we were able to enroll 93 people into that program. There are currently, or newly enrolled in 2025, in addition to those 93, were 94 patients into our SWIFT program, where they make weekly visits to these people. The mayor mentioned about MDCN and the responses that they make. They went on 951 responses. They're responding to the low acuity calls, trying to keep people out of emergency rooms to prevent with the crowding. 99 of those 951 were able to be treated on scene and no transport, and help the hospital see a reduction in ED costs of over $200,000. The program that they're currently active with Title Health is the public outreach for opioid use through to 8th and 10th graders, where we teach them the hazards of opioid use, recognizing what an overdose looks like, and also how to use and administer Narcan. One of our hidden or secret sides of the fire department is our involvement with local police departments, majority of the times with SPD, in our tactical medic program. So many people don't even know we have this, but it's a 2-member team. They have significant specialized training, and they go out when the SWAT medics, for lack of a better word. I'm sure the police chief, if he's here, probably would correct me on that. But the SWAT team from SPD goes out to conduct their business or their training. We're putting one or both of these tactical medics with them. So last year, we went out 27 different times to scenes. That's not counting the training. And we worked with over 12 different police agencies during that time. Proud to say that on the incidents, there were no civilian or no officer injuries. Did have some officer injuries on some of the training, but I think it was relatively minor. But I'd much rather have it there than out on the job. But in addition to not only going out on the calls with the SWAT team, we also provide them with training on wound care, CPR, tourniquets, making sure that they're carrying tourniquets, as well as basic first aid. So they're kind of an unsung hero, that two-person team. I just want to remind people there's a QR code and a link there for our community risk assessment that the information services team posted early in 2025. It's available for the public to learn about the fire department, learn about our calls, learn about how close you live to fire stations, as well as what are the top hazards that we are prepared to respond to and should be. And what lies ahead for 2026, in April or May, we should have a long overdue rescue truck that will replace our 25-year rescue truck arriving. For those of you that don't know, I try to share, sometimes we've had to purchase replacement equipment for our old rescue truck off of eBay because they no longer make products for it. So this rescue truck is long overdue. It's been 3+ years in the making. If you know anything about lead times, is significant on fire apparatus. And then significantly, last year we ordered an engine. This year we were able to work with the vendor, and we're going to update that order. Typically, there's been a 3 to 4 year lead time. We are working with the vendor and purchasing the second engine that has been approved, and which will allow for an 18-month delivery by changing up some of the specs on it, which is going to save us about $150,000 per engine, allow it to get here in half the amount of time, just simply by scaling back and entering a more competitive bidding process to make sure we're getting the best bang for our buck, really. In addition to that, we are getting ready to be rolling out a whole blood program from an EMS standpoint, where it's a partnership with Tidal Health, where we will be able to administer whole blood to patients who need that in the field. If you do any research on it, the data is out there to show that it saves lives. Right now, we're relying upon the aviation team from Maryland State Police Hangar to bring us blood on the scene, which has happened at least a dozen times over the last year. Now we'll be able to have it there a lot sooner, which will allow us to save lives.
Nice.
And then the Salisbury Paramedic Foundation is in the process of purchasing ultrasounds, which will allow us to do ultrasounds in the field for various conditions that our patients may have, not just pregnancy. They actually don't even use it for that. It's more to use ultrasounds for heart movement, lung, abdominal injuries, things like that.
Nice.
And then there's just some pictures of the great work that we did over the year. And we do everything from building ramps to putting out fires to doing educational displays. So I will answer any questions if you have any. And
It's impressive.
Yep.
I had a
Do you have any
couple
questions, Counsel?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions.
Sure.
Number one, you talked about how Narcan is more available to the public. Are we giving it out to,
Yeah,
I
so-
know the health department does it.
yeah, so we get it. We have basically an agreement with the state. When we need some, we bring it in. We have it. Our MDCN team is openly giving it to people who need it, not just everybody. There's also, if you're familiar, there's basically vending machines that administer it to the public that the public can go into. I think there's one at the Recovery Resource Center, if I'm not mistaken. It's definitely more available out to the public now, but we also have it to administer as needed. Yeah.
That's great. And number two is, we're all going to get a chance to test drive the truck, spin it around the block.
Well, we'll see.
Maybe.
You can at least take everybody for a ride in
Okay.
it.
Nice.
I'll-
Nice.
Yeah.
Councilwoman DeShield, Councilwoman Jackson, any questions? Follow-up?
Impressive, very impressive.
Very impressive, very impressive. Yes, I agree.
Thank you so much. And thank you again. I learned a lot during my tour.
Absolutely.
And I have been telling people about the area for them to go visit. So
Yeah.
thank you for
Yeah, if
everything.
they want to come by the station, we have a wonderful museum, and if any of you want to do ride-alongs, you're more than welcome to come. All right, thanks.
Thanks. Okay. Resolution, abandoned vessel authorization for city auction and transfer of ownership. We'll have Assistant Director of Field Ops, Jordan Mann.
Good evening, council.
Evening. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you. So this is basically just for a vessel that we've had at the marina. He owes approximately $7,000 in unpaid delinquent fees. The boat itself is only worth $7,000. So we were able to make contact with the owner's family and decided with them that this is the best path forward. So we do in fact have the title for this vessel. We're just looking for this resolution so that we can surplus it.
Any questions? I say none, but
Yeah, you got the money.
no, yeah. Done deal.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no
Thank you
problem.
very much.
No problem. Have a nice night.
You too.
Thank you.
You too. Resolution amending Resolution 2972, reallocation of the 2019 bond proceeds for the 112 West Church Street City Hall. Did we want to, can I go through each one of those? Because there's the last, so when Sandy Green comes up, she could talk about all of them? Okay, I think we should just, okay, because then we have Resolution 3117. That's the reallocation of the 2021 tax exempt bond proceeds for the same building. Then the ordinance amending and supplementing the use of the 2019 to add to the City Hall project. And then amending and supplementing ordinance 2675, reallocation of the 2021 tax exempt bond proceeds for 112 West Church Street, City Hall. It's all the same. Would you like to come up, Sandy Green? Director of Finance. Is she here?
Yeah, she's on.
Oh, she's online. Okay, I didn't see her, so.
So she's on to present, and then if you have any questions from administration or me, we can hopefully
Okay.
answer those.
All right. Hello, Lindsay. Can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Would you like me to give you a brief overview, or Sandy,
Yes.
did you want to do it?
Just do it.
You can.
Just do it.
It's a standoff?
Yeah, go ahead, Lindsay.
Just do it.
Draw your gun.
Okay, so in 2019 and 2021, the city issued new money bonds. The 2021 bonds also had a refunding component in order to finance certain specific projects. And when the city issues general obligation bonds, it typically first passes a parameters ordinance that authorizes the maximum principal amount of bonds to be issued and lists the project and the maximum principal amount for each project. And after that ordinance is effective, we come back to the council with a resolution that contains certain further details. So first it's the parameters ordinance, then the resolution. With the 2019 bonds, the city has both reallocated proceeds among the projects that were included in the original 2019 authorizing legislation, and it has actually amended both the 2019 ordinance and the 2019 resolution to add some additional projects. The city has not yet amended the 2021 ordinance and the 2021 resolution to reallocate to projects that were not originally included in that legislation, nor has it reallocated proceeds among the originally authorized projects. So now the city wants to acquire and improve the project known as 112 West Church Street, City Hall. It has leftover proceeds from the 2019 issue and the 2021 issue, and it wants to reallocate some of those leftover proceeds to this new project. In order to do that, we have to go back and amend first each ordinance and then each resolution. And there's a lot of detail in the recitals because we like to trace what has happened from the original issuance to now. And then we actually amend the sections of the ordinances and the resolutions that listed the projects and the maximum amounts for those projects. And the amending resolutions also authorized various city officials to enter into or to sign supplemental tax certificates, because when the city issues tax exempt debt, we always have one or more city officials sign what we refer to as a tax in section 148 certificate, which contains representations and covenants. So that's the purposes of the 2 ordinances and the 2 resolutions. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Council, do you have any questions? We've been talking about this for quite a
Yeah,
while.
we could.
I mean, we really have been.
There's a lot there.
Yeah.
No questions.
The council does not have any questions. So we have a consensus to move this forward.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to move this forward.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. We have
You're welcome.
an additional funds request for a part-time zoo staffing from Chuck Eichholz, the director of our zoo. Thank you. Oh, and
And our new assistant
and
director.
our new assistant director. Hello.
New person.
Yay.
Okay. Oh, looks like you have 3 minutes.
Talk fast.
What? Okay.
Chuck, you want to go ahead and read the memo, please? Thank you.
Would you like to, can we introduce the new assistant director for everybody?
sure
Because this is new,
So,
like a week.
A couple weeks.
Couple
But yeah,
weeks.
so this is Jamie Nichols, our
Hello,
new
Jamie
assistant
Nichols.
director at the Salisbury Zoo.
Nice, and thank you.
Yep. So the purpose of this ordinance is to amend our fiscal year 2026 annual budget to provide additional appropriations for part-time staffing at the Salisbury Zoo in order to maintain safe, efficient, and effective zoo operations. The Salisbury Zoo relies heavily on part-time employees to support animal care and maintenance, guest services, and educational programming. Based on the current financial projections, the zoo will not have sufficient of funding remaining in its part-time salary accounts to continue operations at required service levels for the remainder of the year. In prior fiscal years, similar staffing shortfalls were addressed through internal transfers, unspent zoo expense accounts, and full-time salary lines. Those options are not available in FY 2026 due to a higher utilization of existing appropriations. Based on projections prepared by city staff, the following additional appropriations are required. $107,500 to account number 40,501,006, our salary part-time that supports animal care, maintenance, staffing needs, as well as our security. $60,000 is also part from the Zoo Commission line to support guest services, education staffing. This increase is expected to offset the additional zoo-related revenues. The total requested additional appropriation is $167,500 to be funded from surplus.
Okay, wow. Any questions from the council?
No.
How many part-time people are you thinking about for the additional, or is it existing part-time that you don't have the money for till the end of the year?
It's mainly existing staff.
Existing.
Yes.
And then it would be anybody that needs to be hired on for when the season starts for guest services and educational programming. That would
Okay.
start in about April, and those seasonal positions run from April through September, or April through the end of December.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions? Any?
No.
Appreciate you guys.
Great. Awesome. Thank you.
Love the zoo.
Yep.
Do we have consensus to move this forward?
Yes.
Perfect, perfect, and perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we just have some quick discussion questions. See, we want to do a follow-up on election reform and the appointment process. I know that there was forwarded a bunch of the research from Johns Hopkins University, and it was quite lengthy. Quite a lot. Did everyone get a chance to read it? Yeah, it was quite lengthy. So we'll just have a discussion, where we at with that, how we following up, what are our next steps? We kind of put things on pause. I know we had a meeting on January 12th. We had some conversation to put it on pause. And then on January 13th, I went to the election review committee meeting. Election board meeting. And it was some interesting ideas that were going back and forth that kind of intersect from the night before to that night. And I wanted to get, has those minutes been posted? Okay, I didn't see them recently, so to get an idea, because there were some things at the election board meeting that talked about some basically, it would be reform for the appointment process, but you're talking about runoff, you're talking about those types of things. So it seems like there's two parts of the equation. So if you're going to address one thing, to address the other thing, I don't know. Wanted to get some ideas of where we are with that, looking at, we paused a survey. Did we want to pick that back up? Did we want to look at and have I think that information is very vital for the city and the residents to look at. It's well-researched. I think that should be public.
That's what we were given.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah. I think it should be,
The summary would be helpful from Greater Salisbury Committee.
yeah.
I think this, I mean, the other goes into great detail. Go ahead, finish.
No, go ahead, Councilwoman DeShield, go ahead.
My feeling about it, I do think election reform and appointment process, when I think appointment process, I think in terms of filling a vacancy on the council. My two thoughts. Number one, even after reading this, I think we're dealing with something, when we're talking about election reform, I think we need to address why the voters aren't turning out first. If it is a result of not having the particular method in place, then I understand that. 18.2% is absurd as far as turnout.
Correct.
And what this really highlighted, which I thought was very helpful, which we can't necessarily change, I'm not sure that this will change. I want you to know I'm not favoring one method or another. I'm just making a comment on what the factors are that feed into this. We have a very high renter share that you'll find in this. 25.7% of housing units are owner occupied, meaning 74% of residents are renters. That's a huge percentage versus 65% nationally. The other piece is the elevated poverty rate. The poverty rate is 24.8, more than double the statewide rate of 9.5. So how do we get these two, and even they talk about the younger population. Salisbury's median age is 29.9, substantially lower than Maryland's median of 39.8. They're just all numbers, but they all make a big difference in terms of who we're trying to get to come to the polls. And when the one speaker was talking about he's a Gen Z, we have to figure out what the needs and what the hook is to get people to vote. That in its, I'm not sure we can fix those things, and if, according to this information, the renter share and the poverty rate are big factors when it comes to people turning out regardless of your method. So with that said, and my other thought is when the elections are held, Mr. Basehart gave us some interesting information in terms of changing and that type of thing. I would possibly, I'm not sure what the cost would be incurred when we lined up with presidential elections, because according to the information and the research, there is a greater turnout, a greater possibility of a turnout if in fact you do have it in sync on cycle, I think is the phrase they used. So those are my thoughts about do we automatically change our method right away? That's not up to me. I think that we need to try to figure out what the hitches are before we change the process, but just my thoughts. The other piece of it on the appointment process for the council, I go back to something that, thank you, Bob Taylor shared with us regarding vacancies, removal from office from Easton's charter. And I think the pieces that are included in this, when it determines whether or not you have an election, how you appoint a new person to fill a position for a district, number of days left, it covers that. Whether there's a tie, it covers that. Whether there's an election, I would like to know more about that as far as cost and timeline. I think the biggest complaint we had was the lack of public input. So if we were to start with Easton's piece and plugged in something that would be public input from the district, that would be helpful. And those are my thoughts on those two topics. I think they're separate
Thank you.
topics, but I also think that they both need to, be considered.
Thank you.
Well, I think, first of all, the appointee process needs to be taken care of as soon as possible. We do not know what's going to happen down the road in the next year or two. We don't know. So we need to get something in place. So if it does happen, I can't say it will, I can't say it won't, but we need to have a process in place just in case it does happen. Our election is in 2027. We can work that out somehow, whatever kind of voting people want to do, right? Towards however. I like the way we're voting right now. I'm going to tell you, let me say this, people, we're not as big as New York. We're not as big as Minnesota. We're not as large as Michigan. Yeah, they have that many people that could go and run in one election or oppose somebody. They have people who run like 5 and 6 and 7 and 10. We never have that. I've been watching the elections since I was like 10 years old. We have never had that. We have never. People run according to their party, and that's how they run. That's just how they run. And it's not like we have a whole lot of people that are really interested in running. For real. Because they see how politics really are, and they don't want to do it. I hear so many young people saying they don't want to run for office. It's dirty. It's dirty. I mean, and they don't want to do it. I see so many older people, they're more interested because it's embedded in them. It's something that they've been doing for a lifelong journey. And then I've seen some older people who, I don't want to vote. So, I mean, this is something to think about, but at first I would love to get the appointee process situated. Just in case something were to happen. Angela, you and I got real sick 2 or 3 years ago. It could have been a time where we couldn't have made it back. That would have been a time to do the appointee process. We need to do that because nobody knows what the future holds for. Nobody knows. So we need to do this, and I don't think it should be waiting till next year. I think it should be done before this year is out. I think we need to have that. We have to have that conversation. We all need to have that conversation. We all need to have it because
We need to think about what process we want for that then. That's what we need to hammer down on for the appointment process, correct?
That's true. Yeah, that's
Okay.
true. But we need to do it. We need to do it because I'm
Not wait for the ballot.
No, I don't want to wait for that. I just want to do it for, actually, we can do it. We're simple enough. We should be educated enough. We should be grown enough to be rational and do the right thing for the people.
Any other
We have a
comments
base
about?
to start with.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to what I said at the last meeting, I believe it was, and then it came back on the agenda again. As far as, I agree with April, right now, I'm interested in the appointment process. I think that needs to be done immediately. Election reform, again, I have not heard it. I saw the canned emails. I did get those. I, however, also, that's just one person's thoughts that they shared with a big group of people. I'd be more than willing to look at putting it on the ballot But I don't think that this council should make that decision. I think that I'd be more than happy to have the town hall, hear the presentation. I already said that before. However, I stand firm with the appointment process needs to be looked at. And at this moment, I'm not interested in election reform.
Would you want the appointment process on the ballot? Is that what I heard you say? No, you want it like
That needs to be
now?
done immediately.
And-
I feel that the election reform, ranked choice voting, or whatever that is, that could be a ballot issue, and let the citizens decide. But the appointment process, we need to begin that immediately.
Yes.
I agree.
And just remember, the election process is also about like when they're held, or if it's going to be with the presidential election, or if we're going to have a primary and a runoff, or something like that. It's like encompasses a whole bunch of things, and I think that the presentation, the slideshow, really does provide a lot of education. But it sounds like the appointment process, we need to hammer down on what process.
Right. I mean, obviously, we have
Not
some
just-
examples, right? So we need to look at that. I mean, I understand there's a whole bunch of moving pieces, right, to an election. But until we address the appointment process, we're not getting anywhere, because
separate.
that's the issue.
I think it's separate,
So
too.
that minor.
Yeah.
How are we gonna get to the?
Right.
reform?
I think, that's what we need to get that piece in order before we look at a
Councilwoman
reform
Gregory?
to take to the ballot.
Okay.
No, I'm in agreement that we've got to get we've got to get the appointment, or whatever process we put in place, whether it is a special election. We've heard about Easton, people have mentioned Cambridge before. I think if we could have a good analysis of what these other municipalities on the shore and that are similar to us are doing in that regard, get a good idea of what process would be best for us to switch to, because there are different things. The other thing is to take into consideration the cost of what this is going to cost taxpayers to do as well. I want that.
Yeah.
I want that to be part of that, because, doing a special election is going to cost taxpayers. So I want people to be aware of that and be upfront with that. And I know that's something that's been discussed at the election board and things like that as
Yeah.
well. So
The only thing is, in answer to your question, is that we have this information that I have. It looks at 2, 4, 6, 7 other municipalities and what they do as far as filling a vacancy.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to, what do we want when we fill a vacancy? Does it go on to me, it doesn't have anything to do with the election process. It has to do with how we change the charter and what we want
Right.
to be part of that charter as far as our recommendations. And
All
I
right.
don't think it's quite as complicated as it may seem when you talk about it with election reform. I think they're two totally different
Yes.
issues.
Let's
That's
look
what
at some
I'm
action.
keeping them separate. That's what I'm saying.
Let's-
It's like we just need to figure out what system we're looking at. If we're going to replace the appointment process, if we're talking about, are we talking about just reforming the appointment process, or are we talking about replacing it with something else? Those are two different things as well. So like we have to think about what systems are, because different cities do different things, right? So I think that's something that we want to look at is take all options into effect, because we might find something that works best for us that someone else is already doing. So I think that's.
Let's look for action items now. I think, Ms. English, I think it would be good, as far as the price, one of the good things that came out of the election board meeting was they did start talking about prices for different types of runoff, a primary, or a special election, and started breaking it. Can we invite the election board back here to give us a presentation of that, and have it for the council and for the general public in general? Can you get them on the
So are you
schedule?
referring to the Wycomico County Board of Elections
Well,
making that presentation?
We had ours and somebody from the county there. So we had both representations that night, didn't we?
Yes,
So what do you, I think it'd be I think it would be great to have both.
both of them.
Because I thought they both provided very, very interesting information that we all need to hear.
So just to clarify, you would like for the Wacomico County Board of Elections to come and speak to the money side of it?
Well, it sounded like they were the ones that knew more about the money
Yes.
piece of it. So I think
Yes.
that would be very helpful.
And what would you like the city election board to come
To talk-
prepared for?
To talk about, were they also the ones talking about what it would look like, or if we had a special election? Or was that Ms. Church?
The Board of
Waiting on
Elections
that.
spoke to the money. The election board just spoke to the process.
It's the process.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think if you're talking money in terms of costs and things, I think you'd have the Board of Elections come.
Wacomico
Right.
County.
Well, can we have a discussion about what? Okay, so here we go again. I feel like we started at the appointment process, and every time we get there, we start to branch back out again and go back to election reform. Look, if the citizens want election reform, I'll say it 100 times. Put it on the ballot. Give them that option. But
I'm talking
I,
about the
at this
appointment
point,
process.
think that we need a work session on an appointment process, whether it be the cost, what's the process. Take election reform and put it in the left field at this moment, in my
That's what
opinion.
we're doing.
That's what we're doing. That's what I'm saying.
But you know what, cheap is
No,
not
because
always
now we went right back to, we're going to have this. We need to focus just
just
on
on the
this.
process.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But
The
if we're
appointment process,
replacing
we have a
appointment-
special election,
Yeah,
correct?
we do, but you know, y'all
That's-
talking about money. But let me say,
That's
money
what-
is not, everything cheap is not worth it. We can't get something with nothing. We tried it this way, it didn't work. The citizens got very upset about this process. And I don't blame the citizens for getting mad, because who are we to choose who they want in their district? So we should just go over this process, do something. If it costs the city some money, oh well.
I know. I'm doing that. I'm talking about that for transparency's sake, because we've also been criticized for making decisions about money without including the public in the discussion. So that's why I'm saying.
But I said that last time too, Michelle.
We're-
Remember, we need to know, and I'm pretty sure I heard a figure of like 20-some thousand.
17.
And my only concern was, where could that be budgeted? Because we don't know when something will happen to one of us, right?
Yes.
And so that money needs to be in an account, so if it needs to be used. So I think we have that piece. I'm not sure what bringing in all these extra groups is going to help us with at this point if we're focused on the appointment process.
The appointment process,
I think what she's,
there's a possibility for a runoff, not a runoff, excuse me,
Special election.
a special election, a special election for the appointment process.
Right, I understand.
Right, that will cost money.
I understand that.
So-
That was what I said last time.
The people already
Miss-
know it's gonna cost money.
Right.
They already know
We just
it.
want to, we're getting an idea of how much money. We don't mind having
I
an appointment
understand
process.
that. I do understand that. I do.
Also, already on a work session for March 9th, okay, was looking at, after we get copies of all the municipalities that are similar to us, and look at our option and have a work session to discuss which option we like. That, I was putting that on the.
let me help you here.
March 9th.
Let me help you here. So one of the
Thank
one of the pieces of that conversation is we could have, meaning the city doesn't need to secure the Wycomico County Board of Elections to run our
Correct.
election. We can do our own. We can do it as a single district runoff.
Mm-hmm.
Handle the ballots ourselves with dual control, have an oversight committee, whatever you want to do, part of the election board, and it costs us $1,000. We use paper ballots, very simple. We're only talking about 300 votes to begin with. Maybe we're talking about 500 votes. We don't need to incorporate the machines and the supervision and the recounts, and so we can. So I think what Melissa's saying is that we need to get the process of, is it a year left on the commission, or the documentation, and
So
then
the first work session would be March 9th for that.
okay. But to have them come in and talk about the cost of the election, I don't think we can afford or should spend $18,000 to do a runoff for a person that's going to be here for 18 months. I think we should just do that ourselves, and we can do that with dual
Yes.
control. But let me say one more thing about this whole thing. I think a lot of this want, for lack of a better term, to kind of talking about ranked choice voting, manipulate. There's only 18 cities in the nation that use them. is this polarization of politics, and not of ones that matter at the municipal level. I mean, I know there's national politics, ICE and gay pride and all that goes on with it. But at the municipal level, we're balancing balance sheets, we're balancing income, we're investing in parks, we're doing roads, we're doing we're doing the work of cities. 27% of the city kids and people in this country in this city live under the poverty line. 75% renters. That's a vulnerable population, and we don't really have the luxury of dealing at the national level and finding divisions to find our candidate in the pool at the expense of doing a great job managing this city for the benefit of those people. And that's where I guess I get a little fired up that we allow that to be a marquee. It's selfish and politically a little weird, I got to be frank, at the municipal level. Not to say you can't have passions about those other things, but when you're talking about the city, they're not a factor. I'm not saying that they're not an issue. I'm not a factor in terms of what we're doing. And we're here to run the city. We're not here to, do other things. So I want to just say that and get that off my chest.
Is it off?
Is it off?
That's it. That's all I got.
Okay, so
Right.
you're saying the work session is going to be March 9th?
March 9th.
Okay. All right.
Appointment process discussion. And if I'm not mistaken, Councilwoman DeShield, we already have that email in our email. Is that? But we don't have all of the municipality modalities.
What they've done here is they've just taken, for instance, College Park. They didn't go into great detail. It was a special election required if vacancy occurs early in the term, appointment by mayor and council within 30 days for mid-period vacancies, and position remains vacant if close to election. So they've made it much more concise. The reason I keep going back to this one, the Easton, is because all the research that Mr. Taylor does for us, and this is already in place in their charter. To me, it would be a matter of taking this and adding what works or take away what we don't want. It's already there. It's not, in my opinion, not to be rude, it's not rocket science to rework this.
Should we look at any other model other than Easton?
Well, I think it might be helpful. I mean, I'm happy to make sure that everybody gets copies of this. It just gives you just the different interpretations of what they have. Do you want, again, it goes back to, do we as a council want to decide on the number of days left? That would determine whether or not it's even filled. The other piece would be if there is a tie, who breaks the tie? Public input, which was the biggest thing that the biggest criticism we had last time. So do we want public input? How do we define public input? To me, it's specific to us. It's interesting what these other, places do, but I think it has to be what works for us based upon what we experienced before and what we all believe in.
And I think that everyone could, do their own research and come together in March and see what we want to put together and move forward.
March 2nd is the next work. I thought it was the 9th. The next work session is March the 2nd. Appointment process discussion. I do think there should be some way to get out the greater, the Johns Hopkins research, because it does have a lot of very poignant points about the city and the elections, period. We have a consensus to move our topics, move on to our receivership process? Okay. Well, that was an interesting discussion this afternoon.
Yep. Yes. Is it interesting in a good way? Or
No, I thought it was good. I thought it was good. Did you guys want to give a wrap-up of it, or?
Yeah, I mean, I
Want me-
think essentially what the discussion was, we've got properties plural, throughout the city that is sort of in a stalemate where they don't have a person behind them to push them away. They've been like that for years. There's no either money or interest, want, and it's just sitting there. In some cases, they've evolved. They've had taxes, that have accumulate. So we're trying to figure out a disposition change, how to get them. So that there's some opportunity there, but not in great volume. But I think where it makes sense, we can move forward and try to get them back on the tax rolls and get them paying again. So.
I have a question for you, Mayor Taylor. When expanding the use of receivership, that was something that was mentioned. What does that entail, and does it have to change the legislative policy in any way?
That's what I was just talking about. But yeah, it's on the books. We've got the tools. It's just a matter of finding the right ones that will fit and we can execute on.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
I think we come to the conclusion that it was very effective. We just kind of have to fine-tune our process, because I think it can be very helpful in getting those abandoned, boarded-up homes back on track, which you've been asking about for 2 years straight. So
Beat a dead horse.
right. So I wanted to bring that.
Same.
I definitely wanted to bring that forward. So we had some resolve with it and knew that the city was going to recommit to at least looking at that, fine-tuning it, and going forward with it.
Yeah, I just don't want you to get the sense that there's dozens and dozens of these properties out there. There's just maybe like 8 that are,
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's not as many as you'd think. That are, I'm not saying there aren't ones that
That
are vacant.
qualify for it.
Yeah, but there's ones that are like truly in the crosshairs in the receivership, model, so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Boucher, did you want to give an update on the tax abatement follow-up? You have all the nuts and bolts.
Yeah, I think you kind of stole my thunder.
I
so to
know,
speak.
I know.
I concur with everything that Mr. Taylor has said, and a letter has been prepared to go to the Wycomico County delegation on behalf of administration, signed by the mayor, and then maybe tonight, if you could just go on record. to say
We did that,
I did it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have consensus for the council members, and it has proposed legislation which would go back to basically mirror what it had before, and that we would want it to be cross-filed in both the House and
the Senate.
And then I guess are you just going back to the discussion from the prior meeting where Councilwoman DeShield is shepherding that through, or who's the point person on that? After the letter gets sent and doing any follow-up?
I could do it. That's no problem.
Okay.
So it gets done tomorrow?
Probably. But what was Smart Tuesday? Yeah. That'd be good.
Just so it gets there,
I'll
it's a
scan it
time.
up. I'll scan it tomorrow morning. Yeah, I'll scan it tomorrow morning.
Are you going to scan it, or
Yep,
someone else
I'll
can scan it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Get it over.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a time issue, that's all.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Okay, I just, as we head into the budget season, just wanted to get an idea of where we stood with the fire service agreement. Any update at all with where we are with the county?
We brought Chief here tonight.
Okay,
Give you a little history
perfect.
and show you where we're at.
So thanks again. Just want to prepare or give you guys a little bit of history and where we are as far as the preparation. So traditionally, you may remember that the Salisbury Fire Department was always paid in the past. We would provide services for a year, and then we would get compensated from the county. This changed in the 24-25 budget year. Just for your information, the last fire service agreement ended in 2022. Under the terms of that previous fire service agreement in FY20, we received $752,814. FY21 was $734,524. FY22 was $754,000. Again, all about $750,000 up until FY24, which was the first year that the fire service agreement was not into effect. Andy did some work along with Chief Tall and got up to just under $1 million there, which was a 30.5% increase from FY23. In FY '25, through strong relationship building and conversations with the county executive, county council, the mayor led some of that, along with myself. In FY '25, we were able to get $2 million from the county, along with $1.5 million catch-up payment.
Boom, boom.
So $1.5 million was a catch-up.
So the total catch-up payment over 2 budget years was $3 million.
Right.
We
So they split it.
negotiated, they split it, 1.5 and then 1.5.
So that millions was catch-up.
So the $3 million was catch-up, that's correct. But in that, from FY '24 to FY '25, there was a 100% increase, which we would have gotten had we had a fire service agreement in place. It just, the interest wasn't there. Moving forward from FY '25 into the current budget year, we got the second half of that $3 million, so another $1.5 million catch-up and $2.205 million, or a 10.25% increase from FY '25. So from FY '23 to FY '26, is a 188% increase in money from the county.
It's good stuff.
Myself on that one.
And now we are being paid. The most important thing, honestly, outside of the dollar amount, in my opinion, is the fact that we are getting paid before we provide the services, instead of providing them for a year.
Well, those were catch-ups.
And but now the
That's right.
funding, but the funding model now is that we get that payment now that we're caught up. We got it this year to provide.
For.
Another one.
Do we have an MOU on that?
There's no MOU. It's the way that the county funds the volunteer fire service and has for years. All we asked was for the same, and the county complied. I will say that moving forward, we've now, in the last 2 years, I've been able to sit with the county fire chiefs as part of their budget committee. We've only met once. We meet again on Wednesday night. But currently, we're looking for somewhere between a 17 and 35% increase request on our behalf.
Nice.
We would get that as well. We do have a scheduled budget meeting with the county executive and her staff for the end of February to present their plan. I'm going to be honest with you, when I became the fire chief, I was very much like you. We need a fire service agreement. I can tell you from the work we've done with the county fire chiefs, the county executive, and the council, I don't know that we want to do a fire service agreement.
Okay.
Because it's going to limit us, as you can tell, from FY '20 through '23 to a set rate. Whereas if they decide to fund the county fire service at more, we're locked into an agreement. We're not going to get that.
That's right.
So I don't know that, again, I don't know that,
No, I hear you.
that's the best way to go.
Well, thank you for that update. Wow.
Well, whatever way you went, it's good.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'd be frankly, and I think the chief would concur, we're still not getting paid enough.
Yeah.
That said, we weren't going to shock their budget. At the end of the day, if you do it on a percentage basis, we should be probably north of $1 million where we are right now, if not more. Now, to touch on the disparity grant, which I think Mr. Taylor was referring to, there's a piece of that belongs to the city, and so one of the conversations I've had with the county administrator, county executive, is a percentage of that would go to 3 topics: after school, addiction, and homelessness. That we could possibly bridge our expenses against that stuff. So there's a lot of room for potential for our partnership to grow. I think we give them a huge value in our fire service agreement, and that kind of gives us credit in other areas, I think, in other ways. And we try to partner as best we can. But there's a lot of room for improvement, but it's hard to do that over short term, and you don't want to do it in the context of a demand. You want to do it in the context of a partnership.
Yeah, I would agree. Just to kind of throw it out there, what the county fire chiefs are looking at is something that we've talked about as a city, is in addition to the base funding, is a banded funding levels for each station in and above what they are. So if a station runs 2,000 to 2,500 calls, they would get X amount of dollars more than, say, the company that runs 400 or 500. Salisbury's always going to be at the top of that list. So we're always going to be in that top band of what I would call extra funding. That's going to kind of be their sales pitch, because those departments that are running more calls are incurring more expenses. They're burning more fuel, they're using tires more fast, they're tearing equipment up more, they're just using and abusing stuff more. So that's going to be kind of their sales pitch, and traditionally over the last 2 years, we've piggybacked on that. Yeah. And honestly, in conversations with the council and the county executive, it's an election year for them. They're not going to commit to a 3-year agreement when they may or may not be running for office, or they may or may not win. So it's just kind of the way it is. Because the county fire chiefs did want to look at some sort of agreement where they could kind of build in a percentage, but the appetite from the county's just not there, so.
And I want to say, and chief, and compliment the chief, because he built this model of readiness, which is the fixed cost of being able to be in the position, which I think is an effective argument. We were doing this sort of DoorDash model where we were paying by the delivery. It's like, oh, that didn't work exactly. So the chief did a super job putting it together, and I think gave us a foundation with which to really negotiate. I think, again, room for upper potential, because we aren't getting paid enough, but that's said. So.
And Chief, I think I said that to you that day. This agreement has been going on since I worked in the county. I mean, for years, years and years. So I commend you for at least getting to this point and getting funding.
Yes.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No.
All right.
No, but thank you. No.
You got us
You bring in
some
the
money.
money. That sounds great.
You got us some
That
money.
sounds
Thanks,
great.
money.
We're trying.
That sounds
And
nice.
you too, Mayor. I don't want you to leave.
Thank
Hey, who's your favorite mayor?
Thank you.
So crazy.
Speaking of Mayor Taylor, I
Yes.
have two small tasks for you to do
Let's
to
do it.
finish out the evening.
Okay.
All right, let's do it. This
Uh-oh. Oh, is this a certificate? Who's your favorite mayor?
Well, let me go see.
He is so crazy.
Look, these they're issued by you. They were in my folder, but I think you should award them.
Oh, wow, okay.
I think you should.
Well, let me
do
go
it,
over here.
okay?
All right, well, I wish we'd frame these up. We'll get
Yes, I agree.
All right, we're going to first award of the evening is for April Jackson for
And what did I do?
10 years, 10 years of service in 2026. Come on up.
April, Miss Jackson, if you're next.
Congratulations, Chris. We'll get you. Hey, Jill, you want to get a picture?
Yes.
We'll get you one with a frame. I didn't realize we were doing this today.
Yeah, give me a frame.
Yeah. After 10 years,
Exactly.
you deserve one.
Exactly.
Come on out here. All right, here we go.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah.
It's a big achievement.
All right. And the second on that list is Julie English, 10 years of service. It's a what? It's actually 11. Is it, you've been counting?
That's also for 10 years of service. Congratulations, congratulations. Okay, so let's see, we have public comments. You have 3 minutes, and on agenda items only. If you wish to speak, please come to the podium, your name, and if you are a city resident.
Hello, my name is Michael Langford, 1026 Arthur Court. Am a city resident. So talking again about this, I want to commend Ms. Holland for staying on task. So this is just a suggestion. Again, legislative bodies, they legislate. So the endless discussion and the disingenuous presentation of a particular, well, I'm just suggesting things. We don't have to do any of that. Make a motion, second, vote. If it dies in the vote, you don't have to discuss it. You know how everybody feels. You don't actually need to give space for everyone's feelings. That's not actually your guys' place. It's also not your job to educate the public. I mean, like, as representatives that stand to benefit from the system, it's a huge conflict of interest, the idea that you would present any kind of information, because just from your position, it's bias. It's not even about whether or not anything is true or a good idea. It's just not appropriate to the role that you're in. You shouldn't be educating people on voting systems. And also, it's a huge, if the downside from the people who are in favor of it is it confuses people, maybe we need not do it. I mean, that just seems like common sense. I hate to propose that, but yeah, I really don't think that we need to. The ranked choice voting is just obviously being pushed by a minority of people. Put it on the ballot and you will see that. Case closed. Again, yeah, you don't need to. So I want to say this in response to people's comments earlier. Everyone's free to be civil and vote for their hopes now. You guys don't need a special voting system for your own disingenuous interests. That's ridiculous. Just be civil now and not make Facebook groups to talk shit about people, maybe. So the city representatives, put in place legislation for the election form, but they ought not to be educating the public. The other aspect, again, just start voting on things. Just do your guys' jobs. And you can go through a process of elimination for putting forward proposals. So I suggest that the people who, whether or not they're the president, they can put forward a motion. And then once that dies, then you can move on and know that you guys don't agree, but you don't have to endlessly discuss it. Also, breaking it down into the separate different parts, that's, seems like deal with one thing at a time. When you're talking about the appointment, the only thing that the public has shown up here for was after the appointment process was that people were coming up here and demanding change because it wasn't transparent and it wasn't representing the people, and the people who lived there didn't get to pick. So it just seems like you just need to look at the appointment process. Election reform is not being asked for. A bunch of chain letters sent by a bunch of people in a clubhouse is not, count. So again, your legislative body, follow your own rules of order, follow the legislative process, make a motion, second it, vote, move on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Michelle Whitaker, Executive Director for Ranked Choice Voting Maryland. I am not a resident of Salisbury, but I am a proud resident of Maryland, and I do appreciate when I do this work across the state. I do this because I am passionate about democracy, and period, that's it. And I appreciate having good dialogue with anyone on the issues and on the merits of what we can do, but not on misinformation or attacks on neighbors or community members. I think you all deserve respect. We each deserve respect to talk about the issues and how we want to make changes. I'm here because I wanted to make sure that you had some additional dialogue and that you had my information so that we can hopefully talk more in the future, because there is more to answer on what ranked choice voting or other reforms could be possible. This is not about one person or one party. It's about the way we vote in Maryland. And this is about in Maryland. The cities that I'm working with are in Maryland. We're talking about communities coming together. It's local, grassroots, community-driven efforts in all of the places that we are going to, and we're talking to people and doing educational and just informative sessions. Salisbury has 17,000 voters. Tacoma Park has 12,000 voters. Greenbelt has 15,000 voters. Both of those cities have similar demographics or some dynamics that are the same. Obviously, there's differences in every city, but I think it's important to see what might be similar in terms of why they've taken a look at this. It's been clear from every council member that you want input, not only on election reform, but the appointment process, which you've talked about. And if that is a goal for you all as a city, I really encourage you all, and this isn't about ranked choice voting, this is about how you engage more of your community. There is a growing effort to do community citizen assemblies, these citizen engagement opportunities that really bring all of your community together over a series of months to talk about those issues and say, what do we want to happen with our appointment process? How do we want the government to respond to different issues? You get the feedback from your community, and then you can develop those plans. So I hope ranked choice voting can be part of that process, but I obviously just want you all to have a robust discussion that is really looking at the merits of any of the ideas that your fellow neighbors have. And finally, just to correct the record, there are over 63 jurisdictions that use ranked choice voting across the US, and it's over 17 million voters. And in 2025 alone, it was 18 cities and counties that used it and 11 million voters. So if you are going to quote facts, please make sure you know that you're quoting the right and citing the right information. But thank you. I've enjoyed the discussion that you've had.
Thank you.
Hi there. I'll be very brief. Again, for the record, Chase Phillips, 116 Ironshire Street in the town of Snow Hill, and I am not a resident. But first, I am adamant that robust discussion between all council members and the mayor makes for strong decision making. And I know these meetings get lengthy, and I appreciate your time, but that sort of dialogue makes for stronger representation and better decision-making, which directly impacts the residents. As far as ranked choice voting, I am in support of ranked choice voting. We advocate for that in the Maryland Forward Party. But I will say this, I support it as a ballot initiative. I think that if voters want to change that element of the voting system, that they should decide. So I may be in the minority with that, but I'm involved in local government, and I appreciate the attention that's being brought to candidate replacement. Ranked choice voting, I believe, is something that belongs as a ballot initiative. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Jared Chabline, 723 Camden Avenue. I think kind of what the discussion has shown is that we're all in agreement. Whether you think ranked choice voting is the worst idea ever, whether you think it's the best idea, everyone in this room has said one way or another, put it on the ballot. So I'm just asking that the council do just that. You did your job, you put it on the ballot, you let the voters decide. If the voters come out and think ranked choice voting is good, they'll vote for it. If not, they'll vote against it, and then this conversation will be over. I think we can't really say one way or another what the majority of Salisbury thinks. I think we had 3 people against, we had 9 people speak, and 20 people send letters. That's about, 28, 25 people in a city of 17,000 voters, 33,000-ish people. So I think the answer is right in front of us. I think is just put it on the ballot. I don't think this is something we should drag out. We could have endless debate. We could have endless town halls. I think everyone has already kind of agreed what they want to see. And the other part is I do appreciate the council moving forward and trying to address the appointment process. I hope Annapolis follows your lead and gets rid of their appointment process. In the General Assembly right now, about 40% of all delegates have been appointed, not elected. It's not good at the state level. It's not good at the local level. So thank you for beating Annapolis on something. It's always great when the Eastern Shore leads. I'm hoping we also lead here by putting ranked choice voting on the ballot and let the people decide. Thank you. Oh, and I am a Salisbury resident.
Thank you.
Hi, Molly Hilligoss, city resident, CEO of Habitat for Humanity. Have a couple comments regarding the receivership property update. When that list was originally sent out, we were offered to take a look at it, and there were a few properties that we were interested in. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. What I would say is that I would talk to your attorneys about making sure that whoever acquires those properties keeps them affordable in perpetuity, and that they must remain owner occupied. So, that's important. Not only that, Councilwoman DeShield had mentioned in one of your last meetings wanting some information on return on investment for any incentives that you provide for Habitat, SNHS, or any other developer. And so I provided a handout for you all. You should have it. As one of the pages in here talks about the economic impact of new home construction. And several years ago, we had a grant and paid SU Beacon to calculate what that economic impact would be for each house that each new house that we build, and including the lifetime local tax revenues generated by each house at over $157,000. The number of jobs supported over the lifetime of each house is 39. And one thing that we're not just building homes, we're changing lives. And if you really think about it, and it's not just me saying this, when people buy a home, a first-time home buyer, they're getting married, they're having kids, they're investing in their future. They're spending a lot of money on, what's the first thing that any new home buyer buys? It's a shed in the backyard, right? Because they need to put their lawnmower in it. I mean, all of these things are generating tax revenue. So I thought that that would be important. The last thing I wanted to say regarding home ownership, I had the Coastal Association of Realtors do a quick analysis for me last week to find out exactly how many affordable homes we have in Wycomico County. And for what is considered affordable would be for a family that earns 60% of the area median income, which for a family of two would be $42,000. That family can afford about $120,000 mortgage. Right now, there's only 8 properties in the entire county. And let me tell you, they're not even livable. So it costs us $250,000 to build an affordable home. So we need more down payment assistance. The live where you work down payment assistance opportunity, I think we need to talk more about that. And let's continue the discussion.
Thank you. Thank you, Molly. It's
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you, Ms. English.
Hi again. Lana Foley, city resident. First off, I wanted to say how great it was to hear about all the fire updates. Something I brought up before was that, listening to the fire emergency response vehicles needing repairs and parts and things being replaced consistently, there is a big issue as far as the emergency response vehicles and the speed bumps in our city. They cannot fly down our streets without seriously damaging the trucks or vehicles. And so I do think that we should maybe consider removing those and adding speed cameras. I also think that they would be more efficient as well as revenue generating. So I also want to say that I do actually appreciate any feedback regardless of the bias. You all are representative of your district, which is the whole point of this conversation about making sure our appointment process is reflecting the district that you represent. So I do think that providing information or asking for opinions from your fellow council people, I think is a way of showing that you're working together. I don't think that that's any less beneficial than residents coming up here and giving their own personal biased opinion. That's how we are. We're a community. I think if we don't talk about who we are, what we feel, what we want to see in our city or county, then why do we come up here? Why are we here? Thank you.
Here he comes.
It looks like we have at least one more public comment.
Good evening. My name is Mike Perensky, a Salisbury resident, and I just wanted to give the chief congratulations on all the biggest return on investment that our city has is the fire department. One of the things that I am particularly aware of is the tinderbox that I live in. So my house is one of the majority of the homes in Salisbury that's very old, built before 1960. And one of the things that we did at great expense was have an electrician reinstall a subpanel in our house and install arc fault circuit interrupters. And that's something that I'd really encourage the city. I mean, this is something that this council can work on, is finding ways to offset the cost for people that aren't necessarily low income, because I know Ms. Hilligoss's organization helps with that. But we're talking about people in the middle where, you're not making enough money so that it's just another thing that you write a check for, but you're making too much money to really get on the radar of Habitat for Humanity. But the cost of electrical work is significant. So it cost us north of $6,000 to do arc fault circuit interrupters and a new subpanel. And that was really necessary because there's switches in my house where you flip the switch and you can hear it in the wall turning on. And it's not the mechanics that you're hearing. And that's the thing, is people just don't know what they don't know, particularly when you move into an older home. So cloth-bound wire, who knows what. what you got going on. I had live wire in a crawl space that was connected to the panel and just there. You know, it was in a spot of the house where people don't go. But that electrical fires are a major problem. You know, smoke detectors help, but you know, when it's in the middle of the night, it's going to be a major problem. So, thanks, Chief, for doing that, and thanks, Mayor, for getting us our money back. And ketchup is my least favorite condiment, so I'm not going to use that word. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I know
I'm
you
sorry,
want to
Mr.
censor me just like that. I know you can't help it.
He's kidding.
Okay, you have 3 minutes, Mr. Riley.
Okay. Well, first of all, I agree with the mayor. He gets what a city should be. And Ms. Holland, it is Holland, right? Okay.
Yes.
Sharon and April. Don't agree, I agree with you about the money. Don't
I'm
agree.
not Miss Jackson.
It's Miss Jackson if you're nasty. That's taking my time.
Yeah.
Comedy, I need a reboot here. Why don't we just merge the fire department with the county? Maybe we get our taxes
The problem is
lowered.
you don't have one.
That's the point. Why we pay, never mind. Water and sewer departments increases from 2015. Oh, and thanks to lobbyists and out-of-towners for coming. I'm surprised, now you know why Congress doesn't work. I'm surprised George Soros didn't show up. Water and sewer departments increases from 2015, 2024. Salaries increased 27%. Personal benefits increased 6.7%. Professional skilled services, 47%. And other operating expenses, whatever that is, 30%. That went from 10 million to 15 million. And by the end of the year, the balances, the fund balances, went from 44 million to 78 million. So that's money just sitting there. So when will our water and sewer bills go down, and when will the water stop tasting like licking a copper penny? Clarification, please. Mr. Miraboda, Director of Housing and Community Development, appears to want litter fine to go from 1,000 to 1,500, but both line 45 and 55 say 1,000. What am I missing here? By the way, I will be submitting a Freedom of Information Act on the funds collected for 2025. In litter fines, I bet it's close to zero. Clarification, Mike Dryden, Sanitation Streets Budget Amendment. How are you increasing current year surplus by 120,000 and increasing the sanitation division's vehicle account by 90,000 and 30,000? Little problem with the math, at least as far as it's written. Let me see the garbage pickup. Let me say the garbage pickup is unbelievable, great, and if anybody deserves a merit-based raise, it is that pronoun, and the exact opposite is so of the street cleaning. I've complained and complained, and they still do my street basically when they feel like it. Months can go by. More than once, they swept one side of the street and not the other. I probably pick up by hand more trash and litter than the street sweeper. Why are we additionally charged on our water and sewer bill, yet our tax money is paying
Thank you, Mr.
for the
Riley.
requested
We
amount?
appreciate it. Thank you very much. And we have one more, Mr. Taylor.
Yeah, I'll try to be brief. I think the change in the fire service agreement deserves a lot of credit, the people who were involved in it.
Yes, it does.
What's
Yes.
happened there. And it's actually a win-win for both sides for the county, and I'll give them some credit too for being reasonable in that negotiation. I would point out that the former fire service agreement that the chief mentioned was negotiated by Jake Day. It was terrible. There's been mention about ballot questions. I know under the state and county election law, you cannot have general ballot questions. That has been prohibited for, I think, about 25 or 30 years now. I don't know how that affects the city, so I can't speak to that, but it would be worth looking into. There are, of course, ballot questions on the state, and, for example, a constitutional amendment has to be done by a referendum ballot question. Charter change for the county has to be done by ballot question, unlike the city. So that's something you might just want to consider. And any kind of negotiation with the county, I think the chief hit on this a little bit. It's an election year. There's 7 members of the county council. I don't think any of them have at this point filed for re-election. One of them has filed for a state office, so he's not going to be running. Street talk is there are at least 3, maybe 4 others who definitely aren't going to file. So there's going to be at least a complete 4, possibly 5, or even 6-member turnover in a 7-member county council. So there probably aren't going to be too many deals cut this year. But the fire service agreement, I think, is solid, and that's great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Administration comments.
Yeah, just a few. So I just want to give a shout out to all of our crews who worked really hard in their snowstorm,
Yes,
keeping people
yes.
safe. So not only fire and PD, but field ops, utilities, and we always forget about the zoo. The animals still need taken care of as well. So thank you for all them. A couple holiday events coming up. So Salisbury Zoo right now is selling the Wild Hearts Grams. So we talked about $60,000 in revenue. This is where it comes from, little hits like this. So everybody go online, buy a Valentine Animal Collection card for someone. And then on February 14th from noon to 3 is a Valentine's Day event downtown. So we're going to have live music, dessert crawl, which is something new, and horse and carriage rides, and it's all free. So we hope to see people come downtown, shop local. Last thing in the sports world, Sunday's a big day. So everybody be safe, don't drink and drive, and go Seahawks. It's my team. So.
Oh, my. Okay. Thank you. Mayor?
Just to echo what Alan said with regard to the weekend and last week with this cold weather, we had multiple breaks, frozen lines. I was out a couple different days with those guys not working, but just visiting. In fact, this Friday we're going to have a pizza party on the Mare. Friday for the field ops guys, we're going to have a hangout. We're going to anybody wants to join us, you're welcome to come on over. And on the Valentine's Day, I think I'm scheduled to do a little something there. So come by and see that. So, love's in the air. You follow what I'm saying? Love's in the air. You know what I'm saying? So.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
Spooky.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Councilwoman DeShield, would you like any comments?
I do. Not what you expect. I've written this down because I feel I will stay on task if I do this. I'm very uncomfortable doing this, but I need to share with the many people who have contacted me questioning my complicity with things that have recently happened with the City Council. First of all, regarding Councilwoman Michelle Gregory's performance on a TikTok video sharing her disapproval of ICE is her personal prerogative. But when you hold political office, one needs to be held to a higher standard, especially when a controversial video goes viral and both TV stations cover the story. Her comments at the council meeting addressed mental health, yet her TV interviews, especially the follow-up interview on WMDT, was, in my opinion, an unfortunate display of disrespect toward her constituents, who may not have agreed with her. As a council person, you represent city employees, taxpayers, and the 4 of us. Political ambition and self-preservation should not be the basis for actions that affect all the residents we represent. The second incident was when Councilwoman Angela Blake decided to call the Salisbury Police Department to take officers away from their assigned duties to come and monitor someone who laughed during our council meeting. Councilwoman Jackson and I asked her not to call, but she decided she had the power to do so. And again, in my opinion, disregarded the importance of the officer's true responsibilities to our citizens. My second and last time discussing receiving multiple copies of the same canned letter has no impact on my decision-making, just so you know. I would rather these individuals take a minute in your busy schedule instead of cutting and pasting to write your own comments, which I would appreciate and find so very helpful. I sincerely look forward to being part of a respectful, productive, and less divisive county council, city council moving forward.
Councilwoman Jackson?
Well, it's Black History Month.
Oh, it is.
It is Black History Month, and I do have some Black history that I like to acknowledge, and they're local. And one thing I like about doing this is because I try to pick people who are local here. Mayor Todd Knock from Pocomoke City,
Yeah.
the first African-American and a male elected in that position in Pocomoke City. Then we have former Mayor Victoria Jackson Stanley, who was the first female mayor in Cambridge, Maryland. We have Shelley Johnson, acting mayor in Prince Suzanne, Maryland. And we also have Mayor LaJan Cephas from Cambridge, Maryland. So she is the second elected African-American mayor. It gives me good honor to even, talk about these things because I've worked with each one of them on different occasions. And we've had a good journey. MMLs, just meeting up at LESMAs and ESAM meetings, we've had a marvelous time. And we have learned by networking with one another. That's what we do. And also, the certificate I received I am also now part of Black History because of Black History or history period. Because this is just not Black history. This is history period. Profound history. After being given this certificate, I am the longest tenured city council person, a woman. And as of the day after my 10 years, I'm going on my 11th year. In 2027, it'll be 12 years. And I've enjoyed the journey. I've enjoyed it. I work hard, and I want to continue to work hard to take care of my citizens, the citizens of the city of Salisbury, my district, and not only just my district, people, period. I love people, and I have a compassion for what I do, and I'm passionate about what I do. So I just like to thank you, and every Monday that I'm here, I'm going to do a Black History segment. So I thank you all. Oh, and I got one more thing. Since the fire chief is here, I would like to pray and ask for prayers for the family or whoever the couple was who lost their lives in the fire in Parsonsburg, and also for the fireman who was flown out to, I think, the shock trauma, University of Maryland. Yeah. We need prayers because when these gentlemen and women walk into circumstances, they don't know how they're going to come out. They don't know. These are dangerous situations that they go in, and they risk their lives to save other people. And I'd like to thank you, Chief Frampton, for the work you do and the work the Salisbury City Police and Salisbury City Fire Department does constantly. Thank you.
Councilwoman Holland?
Just a few things. One, I attended my first Truth Committee meeting. Very informative, very good discussion. Also did and went to the NAACP meet and great event. Loved the energy there. Had a really good time. Because I'm not one that likes to send emails asking for various agenda items due to transparency for the public. I am going to ask that at a future meeting, we put the rules of order back on for discussion. I feel like that we as city council members are allowed to say what we want, and we call it freedom of speech, but then we turn around and limit the citizens when they sit here. So I would like to have a discussion about the rules of order. Yes, I know it was just, we just did an amendment to it, but that was for dates. So I would like to see that put back on the agenda. Same thing, thank you to Field Ops and the mayor's office and staff and everyone who worked so hard. I will also say I appreciate everyone who has emailed regarding whatever the topic was. I will have to agree with Councilwoman DeShields. When you take an email and copy and paste it to me, and I get it from 40 different people, I'm sorry, I would rather hear your own thoughts, whether if it was one sentence that said, please support, please don't. I can't read 40 canned emails. Thank you for sending them. Been working on my town hall community meeting. I actually will have more information to follow, hopefully at the next council meeting. And my first green team meeting is on Wednesday, and I look forward to it. Thank you.
Councilwoman Gregory?
So I just also want to dogpile and thank all the emergency responders and field ops and everybody who've been out there. I could hear the trucks going by at night. So I'm very glad that they didn't have to deal with as much as some other places have. And we really dodged a bullet this week. So I'm really grateful for that. But I do appreciate all the work that they've been doing. I also wanted to touch on this. This is mostly for council members and the administration. I am the chair of the Engagement and Outreach Committee for the MML. And we have two big responsibilities for the MML, one of which is the essay contest for fourth graders, and the other is banner cities and towns. So I was very glad to see Salisbury on the list this year, after we missed last year, for the banner cities and towns. Just to give you a heads up, we're trying to get 50. Right now we have 79 applicants as of just last week. So it's going to be competitive, so we've got to make sure we get everything done. I will be happy to work with the administration and make sure that we're making that checklist, because I'm chair of this committee. We better be on that list, okay? Now, as far as the essay contest, this is where you guys come in. We have been challenged by the committee as council members to go out into the community and meet with a fourth grade class to promote these essays. Now, all the schools should have received some sort of postcard about it. They used to get a poster and a letter, but now they get postcards about it. So I encourage you to reach out. I would encourage us to coordinate schools. Just let me know what school you're planning on reaching out to and coordinating with, so that we're not, double dipping. We're making sure we're reaching as many schools as we can. But this is the If I Were Mayor contest, and there's a theme and all of that. So I will be happy to I'm going to send out more detailed information, but I just wanted to touch on that tonight. Just make sure that we're getting those essays, because I want to see the winner to come from the Eastern Shore. So there are some schools in Worcester County that apply all the time. Salisbury really needs to start submitting these essays. We really need to get kids submitting these essays. And we'll take a day. I also would like to invite you guys, the day that we read the essays is March 12th. And you guys are welcome to join. It is a Zoom meeting. We ask for volunteers to pitch in for 2 hours minimum. And we all read together, and we read essays, and then we pick our favorites and that sort of thing.
March the 12th?
March the 12th.
Isn't that the day of our first town hall?
I think so.
So March
Yes.
12th is the essay contest reading. You don't have to do it all day.
Oh, I know, I've done it before.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun reading these, because the kids are cute. I mean, this is fourth grade, which is a really sweet spot for some really cute essays. So I'll send out more details to you guys tomorrow morning. Make sure you guys have all the links and everything you need for completing this. But I just want to make sure that we're hitting all the benchmarks for the Banner City, and I want to make sure that we're really pushing schools here in Salisbury to participate and get involved in this essay contest, because last year I think we only had one school from the Eastern Shore submit essays.
What is the starting line for the essay?
I can get you the. There's like a theme. It's just a theme. It's under the banner of If I Were Mayor, and then there's a theme under that, and this is the 90th year of the MML, so it's going to be based around that.
But the years that we did, we had a problem with it. The schools, the teachers wouldn't even help the kids.
Yeah.
Have you got buy-in from the Board of Ed? Have you gotten buy-in from the Board of Ed endorsement?
I'm
from
going to
them?
be reaching out to them tomorrow. That's like, we're gonna have to like kind of start educating, because I think they get information, but I don't think it actually like reaches who it needs to reach. So I think that's going to be on all of us to reach out to these schools and make contact and start getting them engaged in this process, because I think that we really need to have good Eastern Shore representation in this. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that for you guys. I will send out more information, links and everything, all the info you need. Okay? All right. That's it for me.
Thank you, that was very informative. Okay, let's see, Bike and Pedestrian Committee, they meet in 2 weeks, Tuesday, and they're recalibrating. I think that they are looking at some safety things and maybe teaming up with the disability group soon for some infrastructure updates. And the Human Rights Committee is also, I guess, recalibrating on looking at redoing their goals, their purpose, their values, their mission, and kind of also taking back some information from when they met with administration to see how they can like recalibrate what their purpose is. So that's kind of where we are right now with both of those groups. Everybody else has really said a lot of collaborative things. There's business things going on, there's social things, there's great things with our fire department. We have a great city, a lot of nice things going on with our housing programs. Because of the hour, I'd say that we're going to adjourn this meeting. Thank you and have a good night.